Make your story one worth sharing. People who change the world are doers. They take action. Find your thing and do it. What's my thing? Well, last year I wrote a book. I had no idea what I was doing, and I certainly didn't start out to write a book. But a few publishers came to me and said, Garth, we think you have a story worth sharing. So we agreed to work together. But we had to do it quickly. We wanted to get the book ready before the holiday season. They gave me 80 days, 80, to write this book. And I was scared. I was scared that I was going to miss deadlines. I was scared that I was going to have to bare my soul and share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Opening myself up to rejection and criticism is not something that's very fun. So I came up with an ingenious plan. Step 1, decide to write the book. Step 2, write the damn book. What was amazing through this whole process is that 80 days, virtually impossible, but if you write 800 words a day, in 62 days you'll have a 50,000-page manuscript. I have friends that have come up to me since then, and they've asked about being an author. They think that I have this miracle solution, and the conversation invariably turns to them sharing that they have a story deep inside of them that has to come out. And they ask me, as an author, what they should do. And I'm quick to point out, I'm not an author. I just wrote a book. There's a big difference. And then I ask one question of them. How many words have you written today? That is a soul-crushing question to an aspiring author. It's kind of like when somebody looks at you and says, so, what do you want to do when you grow up? Notice I didn't ask them how many chapters they've written or even how many paragraphs. Just how many words? Start small, but start. All that stuff in between will come to you. It's really easy. It's probably out there. So back in the summer of '97, I went to my 10-year high school reunion. Yes, I am that old. And the class president, Minnie Bronson, stood before the class and she surveyed the room. She looked and said, I see a lot of different types of success here. I looked around the room and I didn't see that. I looked at my friends and my classmates, a lot of whom hadn't really done much with their lives. Some of them were throwing dinner rolls across the restaurant at each other. I didn't get it. And it took me quite some time, probably another 10 or 15 years, to understand what she was saying. And part of that process came through writing these notes to my daughter. When Emma was in kindergarten, I started writing notes and sticking them into her lunchbox. The notes were simple at first. I love you. Be a good friend to somebody. Have a great day. And as Emma matured, so did the notes. The notes were a way for me to help inspire and motivate her. They were just one new tool that we used as parents to help bring our daughter up to become a strong, confident young woman. And in 2013, I started sharing these notes publicly on Facebook. Why? Well, I wanted to inspire other dads. I wanted them to make lunches and write notes to their kids. And after a while, a friend of mine asked me, she said, hey, Garth, these notes seem to be pretty important to you. What would success look like for you? And I sat back and I said, I would be successful if I was on the Ellen show and she was asking me questions about why parents should write napkin notes. The problem with that answer was that it wasn't really mine. It was what I thought other people would determine success to be for me. Really, I just wanted dads to write notes to their kids. And as it turns out, dads don't really care that much. But you know who does? Moms. Moms are passionate about writing notes to their children. And so I've learned to run my own race and define my own success. I have parents from around the world that send me messages that they are now writing notes to their children. That's success. Success is, as a grown-up, when you get to work and you find a paper towel in your lunch, And this paper towel says, if my friends really did jump off a cliff, it was because it was my idea. Sincerely, your daughter is a leader, not a follower. P.S. I think you used all of the napkins. Sometimes success happens when you don't care who gets the credit. Our most successful napkin note, the one that's been seen more times and liked more times and commented more times, I didn't even write. How humbling is that? There was one morning I was too sick to get out of bed, and my wife Lisa packed a lunch, and she found a perfect note to write to my daughter. It's a quote by Maya Angelou. You can always tell who the strong women are. They're the ones you see building each other up instead of tearing each other down. Be a strong woman. I love you. That's success. One of the things that I haven't shared is a huge personal challenge that I've been facing for the past 4 years. In fact, 4 years ago tomorrow, I was diagnosed with cancer for my first time. I would be diagnosed with cancer over and over again, a total of 4 times. This is the fun part. I get to use my only 3D prop. These napkins are 2D, so this is a grapefruit. And this was the size of my first tumor, right here on my kidney. We had surgery, we cut it out, and we thought that was it. Despite all of these challenges that I have with cancer, I'm choosing to be happy. Through this whole process, I've had doctors look me in the eye and say, Mr. Callaghan, you're going to die from this. 70% of metastatic kidney cancer patients die within the first 2 years. My clock started 21 months ago. You can do that math. Despite this, I choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice. I'll share this story. Mrs. Nona Wiley, I do remember all of my teachers. She shared this story in 8th grade English class, and I wish I could remember what it was about, but the story is it's burned into my brain. There are these 2 twin boys. Although they were twins, they were polar opposite personalities. One was very happy, the other was extremely anxious. And the parents were concerned, so they took the boys to a counselor. The counselor looked at the boys and chatted with them for a bit and decided to run a test. He separated the boys and put them into 2 separate rooms. He put the anxious boy in a room filled with every toy and game you could imagine. Xbox, Nintendo DS, iPod Touches, Nerf guns, you name it. And the boy sat in the middle of the room and cried. He was afraid to touch anything in fear that he would break it. The other boy was put into a room that was a little too warm, and there was a big pile of manure in it. That was it. The boy started doing cartwheels and flips. He dove into that pile and started throwing the manure around the room. And he looked up and he said, with all this shit, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. Being happy can be a choice. So this formula that I have for making your future, it is simple. It's not easy. Determine your own success by running your own race. Choose happiness. And more importantly, do something. That's how you make your future. Now go do it.